Hey, it's me, Sexologist Shamyra, and you are listening to another conversation on the green couch with Sexologist Shamyra. So it is still September and it is still Sexual Health Awareness Month. It is also PCOS Awareness Month. And I wanted to share my PCOS story with you because PCOS has been a very hot topic about questions for me to discuss this month. I remember when I was first diagnosed with PCOS, I had no idea what PCOS was. Like many of you, or just like you, probably don't have any idea or didn't have any idea what it was when you first heard about it as well. So I didn't believe it. Like probably you didn't believe it either. I had to get a second opinion, and that opinion was confirmed. I remember feeling very anxious. I got hot. My ears got hot. I was sweating because I just heard you have PCOS. And back then, when I was diagnosed several years ago, letters were something that we were socialized to fear. And so I'm glad I am not as ignorant as I was then. But I did my own research. I spoke with doctors, and of course, like you listening to this, you might have struggles with PCOS. I too have struggled, and I'm continuing to manage symptoms of PCOS. The symptoms sexually are very prevalent. A lot of people don't realize that what they're experiencing can be because of symptoms of PCOS. So again, I remember being diagnosed in about 2013 is when I think I was diagnosed, and I went to my primary care doctor. We were discussing some of my symptoms. Then I had to get off of birth control for some other issues, and we'll talk about that in another episode. But I had to get off of birth control because of some other issues, and so we were talking about symptoms I was having, and she thought it was because of the birth control or me getting off. So she was like, just give your body a few more months. And so I did, and I was still having these symptoms. So I was gaining lots of weight in my stomach, and I am a pretty small body person, but I was gaining a lot of weight in my stomach. So I always looked like I was pregnant, right? So she ran some tests. No, this doctor didn't run any tests. I'm sorry. She didn't run any tests, but she asked me about symptoms, and I did. I had like lots of fatigue. I had the excess body hair. I had some cramping, which I thought I kept explaining as it felt like my ovaries were hurting, and some other symptoms. And so she was like, it sounds like you have PCOS. She gave me a pamphlet on it. She told me that about medication, of course, like you might have been told about metformin. She told me about another medication to reduce the rate in which the hair grew, and that was it. So of course she talked to me about food and diet. Then I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to my gynecologist, right? Because I really trust her. So I went to my not that I didn't trust my primary care, but I just felt like she would give me more information, and she did. My gynecologist ran lots of different tests. She checked my hormone levels, and she also scheduled me for a vaginal ultrasound. And so once I was scheduled for the ultrasound, that's where we saw that I had lots of different cysts over on my ovaries, and she talked to me about the size of them and what they meant. I remember one of them was as big as a walnut. The other was like an egg. And so we talked about that. I wasn't scared at the time. I was confused. So I asked lots of questions, right? And so I was like, what does this mean? Is it going to hurt? What if they burst? And she was like, some people have pain, some people don't. So she talked to me about getting on metformin, and she talked to me about seeing an endocrinologist. So I did not take the metformin. I did go to the endocrinologist. The endocrinologist suggested that I get on what she called a diabetic diet. So basically a very low carb diet. So what I did was I checked for research to see what was out there. There was not a lot of research on PCOS that was out there. So I read a lot of blogs, got information from firsthand accounts of people who also was diagnosed with PCOS, because I was like, okay, so I'm going to have this forever. Okay. So as the years and the time went by, well, let me go back a little bit. So right after I left the endocrinologist, I decided to work out because I saw all of the information said work out, exercise, eat right, go on a diet. So I did that. I went to the gym. I remember I got a membership at the gym. I got a trainer for a while, and I went to the gym 4 to 5 times a week. I stayed there for like an hour. And again, I was a small body person. And so I was focusing more on strength training. So we did a lot of strength and endurance stuff, some cardio. Within 4 months, I got pregnant. Now, my gynecologist told me, you are infertile, which means you are not going to be able to have children. And so we know that PCOS is the number one cause of infertility. It's the leading reproductive health challenge for women and couples who are trying to conceive. So hearing that, I was like, wow, like I wasn't thinking about having another child. I had one kid at the time who was like 3, and I wasn't thinking about having another child, but just being told that you won't be able to have any more children, it kind of like put me in a space. And I talked to my husband about it, and we talked about what that meant. And so I was like, okay. He probably heard something differently though. But I did get pregnant within 4 months. I was not trying to get pregnant. I did not want to have another child, but I guess the working out and the different way I was eating really helped. So what I did was I just basically changed the way I eat. I stopped eating pasta because I used to eat a lot of pasta. I stopped eating pasta and lots of carbs. I ate more grilled food, baked food. I stopped eating as much sugar that I was eating, and that seemed to help out a lot. So I got pregnant, and the pregnancy probably masked a lot of the symptoms that I was having, because everything when you're pregnant is related, because you're pregnant. So I had the baby, and afterwards there were like an influx of symptoms. So there was even more hair. My weight gain and loss would go up and down as it does now. So right now I am in a space where I am gaining weight, and I gain weight like you might as well in my midsection. I don't look like most people who are diagnosed with PCOS, right? So if you're listening to this, it's been a few minutes and I've not told you what PCOS is. But PCOS is polycystic ovarian syndrome, or polycystic ovarian disease, and it causes hormonal imbalance, and it causes an increase in the androgens. So it causes you to have more testosterone in the body, and it definitely affects the sexual health of those who have the syndrome. So after having the baby, I noticed that I was always tired, which I had already been dealing with fatigue. So I was tired a lot. I never had a regular period except for when I was on birth control. Sex was hit or miss, and I was definitely having some issues as it related to body image issues. So I'm going to tell you what a lot of other people describe who have PCOS and how it affects them. So if you're listening to this, you might experience mood swings. You might have the excess hair growth, maybe facial hair or hair that grows on your body. Like if you look at my arms, I have lots of hair on my arms, and I have decided that I'm not going to wax or shave my arms because I actually like the way the hair looks on my arms and the way it grows. But if you don't, that's fine. So weight gain is another issue that happens. Some people have acne. Some people develop insulin resistance and diabetes, as I have. I do have insulin resistance, so I'll tell you how that affects me as well. Some people have food cravings. 60% of women with PCOS, they experience sexual dysfunction, right? So either they have painful sex, they have vaginal dryness, they have low sexual desire, which means they often don't want sex, and this could be activating for many people who might have wanted more sex early on, or a partner who has a higher sexual level of desire or higher sexual desire than their partner. The weight gain and the excess body hair contributes to depression. All the other physical ailments that come with PCOS contribute to people developing depression and anxiety, which sometimes you have to become medicated for or get on medication to manage, which also contributes to low sexual desire. So listen, you are not tripping. There's nothing really wrong with you. You are dealing with a disease. Polycystic ovarian syndrome is a disease that you're dealing with. And so, of course, it's going to affect other systems in your body. And if you're taking medication to manage it, there's a possibility that that medication might affect your sexual health. There's a possibility that your partner is confused about what's happening and they don't know. You might even be telling your partner, listen, it's the medicine. It's the PCOS. You might not even attribute it to the PCOS because you might not even know that PCOS can do this, especially if you're on birth control, because birth control can actually lower the testosterone, which also decreases your sexual desire. Many women and couples have lots of stress about becoming pregnant because, again, this can cause infertility. It causes issues with becoming pregnant for lots of people. And so this causes additional stress in the relationship. This causes issues around sex because once you start trying to have a baby, sex starts to feel more like a chore. And then when it's not happening, a lot of people feel like their body's turning against them. A lot of people feel like their body is broken, especially if you feel like, okay, I am a woman, I'm supposed to be able to do this. Don't tell yourself that, right? A lot of people are women who aren't able to have children for lots of different reasons, right? So as you can see, PCOS affects our sexual health in various different ways. What I had to do is sit down with my partner and we had to talk about what this was, what this meant, and he had to do his own research. So he had to read about it, and he did a Google search. Not only did he accept the information I gave him about it, but he listened to how I felt and how I described the way I felt. So we would talk about me being tired sometimes and me not like we'd like to eat, or me not wanting to eat specific things because he likes to feed me a lot. There are times when I say, you know what, forget all of this. I want some cake. I'm going to go and get me a buntlet from Nothing But Cakes. Okay, I'm going to go get me a bundt cake. Or I'm going to go order me a box of cakes and I'm going to eat them. Not all of them. Or I'm going to have 2 scoops of ice cream. So I'll tell you how we were able to manage all of this and to do something that really works for us. But for you who's dealing with PCOS and you are not finding a way out of it personally, what I recommend is pay attention to your body. I had to do that, right? I had to get super focused on what was happening to my body when I did this, or what was happening. So I recommend journaling about your experiences, or just writing them down, putting a voice note in your phone, or just having a designated space where you can keep track of what's going on. Keeping a food diary helps sometimes as well, especially if you have diabetes or hypertension or insulin resistance. I had to do this as well. I even sought the help of a registered dietitian who gave me a food plan that I rarely follow. But what I did was I found out what works for my body. I found that if I ate specific foods, it made me feel even more tired, which of course I didn't feel like having sex. So you have to figure out what sex looks like outside of just penetration. And if you have my book, Use Your Mouth, Pocket-Sized Conversations to Simply Increase 7 Types of Intimacy in and Out of the Bedroom, you and your partner can definitely find other ways to be sexually intimate during those times when you just don't feel like you have enough energy to give to penetrative sex. There are lots of other things that you can do sexually that would satisfy you and or your partner individually and as a couple. So journal your experiences, pay attention, figure out what sexual intimacy looks like to you in and out of the bedroom, right? And continue to make changes, because you're going to continue to find things that work and things that don't work. I really like coffee, black, no sugar, no cream, but coffee spikes my anxiety. If I'm too anxious, there's a way that sex helps with that. But you just have to figure out what works for you, right? I can't eat lots of carbs. I can't eat lots of protein. So I have to find what balance looks like for me. So again, if you're partnered and you have PCOS and you are listening to this and this resonates, talk to your partner. Have your partner to listen to this. Give them some information on what people with PCOS experience sexually. Low sexual desire, vaginal dryness, use lube. I can't stress this enough. Find a lube that works well with your body chemistry. Have lube on hand. Use the lube every time you have penetrative sex. Spend more time warming your body up for sex. Figure out things that you can eat in moderation. I like to practice mindful eating, right? So what that means is I am very particular about what I eat. So I eat things now. I'm like, okay, this is going to make me feel bad. But then I'm like, okay, if I eat half of it, I'm not going to feel as bad. So I can still eat cake, but I'm just not going to eat the whole box of cake. I'm going to eat half of it, right? So basically measuring and figuring out what works for your body. Talking about the mood swings. What happens when you're having these mood swings? Talking to your partner about what you need. Maybe you need space. Maybe you need more affection physically, or maybe you need sleep. I like to drink a lot of water because that actually helps. Some people have found where holistic measures help for them in managing this. But just to let you know that there is more information. PCOS is being studied more. Talk to your doctor about it. I know it's frustrating to hear. We really don't have the answers, but there is no one size fit all for most of the things we experience. As you know, you have to find what works for you. And as frustrating as it might be, even with your body, for those of you who are having image issues with your body, you have to figure out and go into a space in your body that feels safe and comfortable to you. That's what works. Find out what you like about your body. Look in the mirror naked and focus on something that you actually like about your body. It's so easy to find things that you don't like. Find something that you really appreciate about yourself. Keep your partner in the know and figure out ways to deal with the sexual frustration that are productive and that still contribute to overall intimacy in the relationship. And it's okay to be frustrated. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to be fed up with it all, because it's your body. Until next time, I'll see you or hear you, or you'll hear me in another podcast conversation. Bye.